Hey everybody, Todd Vandermeid back for another edition of Freedom Steel, but this one's going to be just a hair different. So, a little more after the intro. Hey everybody, Todd Vandermeid, former NRA contract lobbyist, Illinois gun law guru, the gun Santa over on Reddit and everything. This isn't an update per se about any particular court case, legislation, or otherwise like that. What this is this going to be an ask of all of you, my subscribers, followers, and friends that, we just got the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals consolidated opinion in the Barnett FFL Illinois Harrell case. And it's not good. And as I said in my last video, it is the largest piece of judicial dishonesty that I've seen. And it's not just my opinion. I think Mark Smith agrees with that and how dishonest they were in the way they did things. And Bill Kirk agrees in that same kind of thing that, you know, they didn't just ignore the rule of law. They just had a outcome that they wanted, and they were going to get there no matter what. Well, a couple of things are going on. One, there's going to be a cert petition filed to get this case up. Now, do I think the Supreme Court is going to consolidate this case with the Viramontes case? No. I think this will go up there, be sitting up there, just like Duncan, just like Gator Guns. And with that, what's going to happen is that it's going to be held in abeyance until we get the decision in Viramontes. And so Viramontes and Grant, so what they did is they've combined the Cook County Challenge, which is Viramontes, with Grant, which is a challenge to Connecticut. And I think there's a reason the court did that, but that's not what this video is about. What this video is about is we're going to need to have an AMICI campaign. And as part of that, SADEC, the Second Amendment Defense and Education Coalition, of which I sit on their board, along with Eric Callis and a few other local people here in Illinois, what we're doing is we are working to raise money, and that's where I need your help. There will be links below, or you can go to SADEC, SADEC.org, and there's a donate button there, and you can create whatever level of donation you can afford. And if you don't see something, you can get a hold of me or email Eric, and we'll create a donation button specific if you have a larger amount that you would like to give. But here's the thing. You saw, if you've watched my video, if you've seen Mark Smith's video, if you've seen Bill Kirk's video, you have seen the utter dishonesty that borders on corruption in what took place in the Barnett appellate decision. And we need to address all of those issues, just like we need to address the issues that have been brought up in the Ninth, in the Fourth, and a couple others, the Second Circuit. We need to have a good ability to lay this out in front of the court. And there are a lot of groups that want to participate. Not everybody has the funds to do so. Supreme Court briefs, even as AMICI briefs, are not cheap, nor is going to be the cert petition going up for the 4 cases here. So with that, what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to reach into your pocket and whatever you can spare. I know the economy's not great. I know that these are harder times than we would like, that gas keeps going up and down and up, and it's hard to figure out and budget what a tank of gas is going to cost you for the week. I get it. Understand all of that. But here's the thing. Viramontes is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for those of us in the Second Amendment community. If you were around in 2008 when Heller came down, if you were around in 2010 when McDonald came down, those were watershed moments in this movement. And we've been at this, for a very long time. It's coming up, we're 18 years post Heller. We're coming up on the 20th anniversary in the not too distant future. And so, with that, if we want to win this battle, if we really want to put our best foot forward, we need to have the money to sit there and fund the briefs so that we can get the issues before the court. You're limited to a set number of words. I think it's around 9,000 words in an amici brief. And the main case written by the attorneys for Viramontes and Grant, they're going to have their hands full just trying to cover the main parts of the case. And so it's what we want to do is we want to find the topics that need to be addressed, need to get in front of the court and help fund those abilities. So let's think about, all the things that went wrong or that the court lied about in the Barnett stuff. You've got the common use test that they just completely ignored and said, oh, we can just waive that because of the nuanced approach from Rahimi. They skipped, they couldn't find a single ordinance or law from 1791 to buttress their position. They jumped straight to 1868, and the best thing they had was Bowie knives. Not even a gun regulation, Bowie knives. They have gone farther than any other court to sit there and twist the words of the court where it's not dangerous and unusual. It's unusually dangerous or any reformulation of those words. Really, if you're old like me, really, I think I should send the justices Easterbrook and St. Eve, that clip from YouTube about Schoolhouse Rock about conjunction junction. 1791 versus 1868. That is still an open-ended question. Wolford said the court didn't have to answer it, but Barnett certainly has left a new foul taste about that debate in many of our mouths as they just skip straight over 1791. And then registration. That registration is completely okay, and if we don't deal with some of these issues, as well as the tiered licensing issue, there's a roadmap for the anti-gunners to go despite whatever the court says. If the court says you cannot ban these guns but stops there, then we're going to be in for a whole new round of fights over tiered licensing and the like. So please, if you can afford $5, if you can afford $10, $20, $50, $100 or more, please give us a donation so that we can help fund the amici briefs that are going to help make a difference for everybody's right to keep and bear arms here. We know SAF and FPC are out on the amici campaign because they're the main complainants and litigants in this case. So it's going to fall to other groups, and we're trying to make sure. If you've watched my stuff on right to repair, if you watched my stuff on registration, if you've seen how we over at SADEC are trying to build a foundation, that it's not just a Me Too movement of we're just signing on and rearranging the same old arguments in a different order just to, beat our chest. No, we're trying to come up with new, innovative, thought-provoking arguments to put in front of the courts so that we can take the biggest chunk of this pie that is absolutely possible. Because the more things we foreclose upon in the courts, the fewer places the anti-gunners have to go and run and hide. And quite frankly, we all want them to crawl back under a rock. Because Bloomberg is going to be spending millions on a media campaign. They're going to be trying to get their so-called media outlet, The Trace, to be banging away week after week. They're going to be planting stories in the mainstream media about how awful all this is. And with all of that, the only recourse we have is to get our information in front of the court in the most concise and best way we can. And do that with some of the best attorneys in the country who have been arguing Second Amendment issues for well over 25 years. So, with that, please, links will be below, but it's SADEC, SADEC.org. If you just want to click right there, it stands for Second Amendment Defense and Education Coalition. And please, be generous. Do what you can, but this is all of our fight. 2.5 million FOID card holders. If everybody gave $1, we'd be well on our way to making sure that the Second Amendment isn't just there for us, but our children and our grandchildren. So as always, please copy, like, share this video around, and as always, frag out.